Welcome to Support Local with Sid. And I'd like to introduce a new guest to our interview today. We have Alex, the dog walker. She's a passionate pet lover who walks and boards dogs for her business. And we're going to get into more details. Alex is amazing at what she does and services the Greater Toronto area as well as Mississauga in specific. So let's get into it. Alex, can you tell us a little bit about why you started the business?
Yeah, for sure. Hello, and it's actually a little funny how I got into it. I've always loved animals. I grew up with them. I grew up with dogs, and I worked at several different companies helping care for pets. I worked with a vet as a vet assistant. I helped a groomer. I was a groomer's assistant at one point. I worked in a dog daycare. I worked at a kennel. Um, all the while I had a full-time job in corporate, and when I got laid
Wow.
off, I was looking for something else to do, and my next door neighbor's dog somehow knew that I was home. She knew that I was home every day, and literally every morning her owner would leave to go to work, and she would walk herself. There was a that split or divided our properties. She would walk through the hole, come next door to my property, start scratching at my door, to sort of ask me to let her in. So I would let her in, and I'd get up and I'd take her out for an adventure along with my dog. And the two of us would go, or the three of us would go, the two dogs and me. And I started doing that every day while I was sort of looking for a new job. Well, the neighbor told his friend that I was doing this, and suddenly his friend was like, "Well, we need someone to walk our dogs because we're gone for like 10 hours a day." Actually, one of the owners was a flight attendant, so she was gone for days sometimes, and then the husband was gone for like 10, 12-hour days. They're like, can they come along too? And I was like, sure, why not? We're going for adventures anyway, come along. And then I started telling my friends about that this is what I was doing, and another one of my friends said to me, I could really use someone to walk my dog when I'm at work as well. She's like, by the time I get home, I'm exhausted. It's dark out. I don't really want to be going out. Do you mind come too? And I was like, sure. So suddenly I had a pack of dogs, and I didn't really plan this. Even though I had worked in the dog service industry, I never really considered um, pack walks, but it just sort of happened. And I realized that there was a need for it. And I realized that there was, yeah, a market for it. So
That's
I just,
amazing.
yeah, I just
It, it,
started like literally.
it's a calling. Like dogs were just attracted to you naturally, and then it
Yeah.
just kind of fell in
And then
place.
it just grew from there. People would see us out, and at that point it was pretty obvious because at that point I had 5 dogs with me. So people would stop me and ask, like, are you a dog walker? And I'm like, yeah. And they'd ask, and I started picking up new clients that way.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works. It's at first it was just a hobby or just something that you liked, and then
Just, yeah.
that's awesome. Uh,
Yeah.
so how long have you been walking dogs for?
5 years now. This has been 5 years now. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. And
Yeah.
you mentioned we spoke about this earlier that you board dogs as
Oh, you're
well.
cutting out there.
Oh,
Yes.
is that better?
Yes. So also when people really, I'm like, it got to the point where now I'm people's backup. So I I literally provide a service for people who want to have a dog in their life, but maybe they're a little too busy to make sure that all of the dog's needs are met.
Yeah,
So whether that is they're working long hours and they need somebody to get the dog out during the day, or they travel with their right now because of COVID, there isn't a lot of traveling happening. But
yeah.
pre-COVID, and when all of this is over, when people they can leave their dog with me, and I'll take them into my home and I'll take care of them and make sure that they get everything they need, and it just gives people peace of mind um, that they can leave their dog with someone that they know is going to be in good care, it's in good hands, they're having a blast
Yeah,
with other dogs. Yeah.
that's amazing. So would you usually board a couple dogs together? And then do they get along okay? I feel like that's a big concern usually.
It's so funny. So many people ask me that. Um, most dogs get along. Like most dogs enjoy each other's company. And even if they don't love each other, they're very okay being in the same space. There are definitely dogs that don't love being around other dogs, and I unfortunately I can't work with those ones because we are in a group environment.
Right.
But yeah, most dogs love each other. And then what ends up happening is they actually start becoming friends. Like some of them, like the ones that really click or have the same matched energy, they build friendship. And it's really neat to see. And a lot of people think, oh, I want my dog to have friends, so I'm going to take it to the dog park and they're going to make friends. And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Like you don't go to a public space and meet someone for the first time and
Yeah.
continuously get together over and over again, and you build a bond and you spend time together because you want to. And I actually see and watch before my eyes these friendships form, and the dogs that like just can't keep their paws off each other, can't
Uh-huh.
stop snuggling, that have like so many kisses for each other, and it's really nice to see.
It's amazing to see that. I mean, I would love to see that. Like with humans, people see it all the time, but with dogs, it's unique, and it's a really nice experience. I bet that you
It
witnessed.
is. It is. And they sort of have to, like I said, you have to give them the chance to get to know each other. It's not going to happen in a dog park when
Yeah,
you're visiting for half an hour. But when they spend a consistent amount of time together, it definitely
absolutely,
happens, and friendships definitely form. Some love
absolutely.
affairs.
Really, that's
Yeah.
interesting. So, what is it that you would say
Yeah.
people like about like your services the most um, amongst most dog walkers?
I do things a little differently than some more or most dog walkers, I guess. And so our days are structured. So what I do a little differently is rather than just going to a park and letting them all go and have a great time, which is great, I provide a little bit of structure.
Okay.
So first we pack walk, which means we walk as a group on leash all together. This is literally work for the dogs because their impulses, they want to stop and sniff things, they want to play with each other, they want to go check out things that we're walking by, and the expectation is that they continue to move and we move as a group. And they literally need to remain in tune with each other and pay attention to each other's movements so that we can move fluidly as a group. So it works the dog's brain. It provides mental stimulation,
Yeah.
and it builds the pack mentality. It helps them work like a team, just like a sports team would have to work together in order to be successful. They need to work together to make that to navigate our pack through
Yes.
whatever it is we're walking through. And we go to different places all the time. So I don't go to the same spot every day. Every day I go somewhere different. So there's new smells, new scents, new things to look at, new people to see. Um, Throughout COVID, it's been a lot busier with people walking around in the trails, other people's dogs out. So it's actually been a little bit more work for us, which has been really good for the dogs. And then once we've done that work, then we have play. Sometimes we work on drills, sit, stay, come, heel. And again, we're working the dog's brain, we're keeping them engaged, we're keeping them working together, but we're also giving them playtime. So it's kind of like school for dogs, right? Like the kids
Yeah.
got to sit down, do the work first, and then they get recess. So, and then they get
That's
snack break. We get snack break.
that's amazing. That's
So
amazing.
yeah,
I thought walking dogs was just walking them, but you also train them mentally and give them that mental exercise, which is
right,
awesome. Um,
right.
yeah. So how many dogs do you usually walk at a time?
So in Mississauga, I have a license, so I can walk up to 8 at a time. Um,
Nice. It,
so
and
yeah, I'm because of COVID, things are a little bit. We have a little bit less, which is fine. I don't mind the small group because it actually allows me to engage a little bit more one-on-one time with each dog. But the big groups are great too. So anywhere between
yeah,
yeah
like
two
up
and
to
two and
8.
eight dogs at a time. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. So do you find that there's dogs that don't necessarily get along with others when they're walking? And if so, are you able to actually train them to walk with other dogs, or can they just?
Sometimes, sometimes. So there are dogs that this doesn't work for. Like this setup, they're just not prepared for it. And there's only so much I can do, and I only have the dog for a certain amount of time. So depending on what structure, boundaries, and training the owners put in place back in their home, um, determines how well prepared the dog will be for our adventures. So I'd
Gotcha.
love to say that it would work for every dog, but unfortunately it doesn't. I do always start with, like, I'll go and do like a meet and greet and walk with the dog with maybe just one or two of my own personal dogs, just to test them out. Most dogs you can get them trained well enough if they're coming out on a consistent basis. If you
Right.
only see the dog once a week, it's kind of it could be hard to integrate them into the pack. It's just a little overstimulating for them.
Yeah.
Um, but if you see them on a regular basis, yeah, most of them pick up pretty quickly and they learn from the other dogs.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So it's almost like a, like you said, a school and a way to let them enjoy themselves when they're not with their owners. And then that's awesome. What would you say, Alex, drives you the most to do to have like this business and do better? Like what would you say motivates you to do that?
Honestly, helping people. Honestly, warm my heart to help the dogs and to give the dogs this experience and this lifestyle. But what drives me the most is the people. And when somebody can look at me and say, "Oh my God, you're a lifesaver, and we couldn't do this without you," and I know that if it weren't for them having help, they wouldn't be able to have the dog, or the dog would suffer. So if a dog doesn't get the required amount of mental stimulation and exercise in a day, like they become a disaster. Like
Yeah.
mentally, they develop anxiety, they develop sometimes fear and aggression. They get boredom, like they get very bored, and then they become very destructive, and then the owners are always mad at them, and it's very sad to see. But people, like, dogs bring so much to people's lives. Like they heal us, they ground us, they force us to be better versions of ourselves. Like it's such a beautiful thing to have a dog part of our family. So I love the fact that I am able to help people achieve this that maybe don't have the time to do it because their careers are very demanding and time consuming, and they've got kids and they're trying to raise the kids, and they really want a dog, and it's just they want the dog to get everything it needs, but they don't have the time to do that, and that's where I come in. So that's what,
That's
yeah,
really, really nice that you have such a like core belief behind it, and it
yeah,
comes from just contribution and helping others.
yeah.
That's so important to have the motivation and to be able to do better. Just if there's a good reason behind it, and if it
Hmm.
resonates with you, then it usually helps you do better. So that's
Oh
awesome.
yeah, it
Um,
it it definitely drives me.
Amazing. So what would you say is one thing that people don't know about your service that they would need to, like, they would find helpful?
So I would say what most people don't realize,
Can't
and what
quite.
I wish more people knew, is that like we're working. Like it takes a lot of concentration to be the driving force of multiple animals at a time. So it looks like it's from the outside it looks very easy. It does nothing to it, but the fact is, like, I'm very in tune with these dogs, and I'm trying to remain connected to all of them at the same time. So when someone comes up and wants to ask you all these questions and talk to you, it's just it doesn't work. And then I always have this fear that I come across maybe as rude or antisocial when I'm trying to like tuck my hat down and keep going and not ignore people, but essentially ignore them and trying to remain connected to my pack. It's not because I'm being rude and don't want them to appreciate what they see, and it's not that I answer the right time. So
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, it shows that you're dedicated and that people can rely on you with their dogs, and that they're getting 100% of your attention, which is awesome.
yeah, and
Uh,
it requires a lot of attention.
Yeah, I bet. I bet, man. Like
um,
just walking my dog alone is a struggle sometimes. The moment he
Aw,
sees other dogs, he just starts going wild.
right.
And just like having him walk in a straight line sometimes can be challenging. So I bet just you
So
will
add
handle.
5 more.
Oh God,
Yeah,
that's quite a an obstacle to overcome.
it's a blast. It's a blast.
Amazing.
It's awesome when it comes together and they literally start working as one.
Awesome. So, like, how does one, first of all, I guess the prices and things like that are listed on your website. How does someone get a hold of you and get signed up, basically?
So I did have a website at one point and I didn't maintain it because I found most people were contacting me through Facebook or Instagram. So I've only maintained the two of those. But I do have a Facebook page. It's the Dog Walker Alex.
Yeah, I did
And
see that. A lot of great content there, by the way. Some
thank
really
you.
cute dogs,
Thank
and
you.
yeah, it almost looks like you're managing like a wolf pack on there.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. But yes, you were saying that people mostly contact you through Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram, I would.
Gotcha, gotcha. So,
Yeah.
and so just so the viewers know what your charges are roughly, like what would they be for, I guess, like a single dog? Um,
It all depends. It's hard to give a flat rate. So it all
okay,
depends on how often they want me caring for the dog, where they live, and how far we're traveling to pick them up. Yeah.
nice. So they can just leave their dog for the entire day with you and pick them up. Is that how it works, or?
Some people do drop their dog off to me in the morning, and I drop them off late afternoon. Right now, everything's curbside.
Okay.
Off, I make a route. I pick everybody. We go to a park. Um, we go somewhere different every day. So our exercise, like the amount of time that we're actually on the walk exercising, is a minimum of 2 hours, depending on weather. Like unless there's like very nasty weather, but otherwise we walk rain or shine. So we're out for about 2 hours, sometimes more if it's super nice and the dogs have the energy, and then we work on dropping everybody off. So it
Fantastic.
ends up being a full day.
Right. That's amazing. So it's a nice, like, especially when people are just busy with work, which is usually during the day.
Yes.
It's perfect for a dog to get their exercise. Amazing. So is there? I think we basically covered most of what you do. So there you have it, folks. I just interviewed Alex the dog walker, and if you have any more questions or want her contact info so you can uh, see what she does and use her services, I will list it in the bio below. Um, other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Alex, is there anything else you'd like to add on to the interview?
No, that's everything. Thank you so much.
It's pleasure is mine. And yes, I will definitely use you for for my dog very soon.
Aw,
I, I think you're awesome at what you do, and your page is very uh, resourceful. So that's awesome.
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. We'll be in touch. Thanks.